Where do you find God in your life? Throughout history, some people have found God through rational thinking. How did there come to be a world? Thinking about philosophical questions and arriving at a belief in God. Other people have found him through tradition. Others still through miraculous experiences, and some others through a concept of simple faith. Personally, for me, I find God in this world and through this world. All the above forms of finding God have elements of truth and are part of my experience, but the bedrock and the foundation is my experiences in this material and physical world. Because what I feel is that when I encounter the material world, living in this physical world, when I experience things, there's always something more that exists in the backdrop. Something that appears, that I sense as almost hovering above, within, and also beyond that which I am seeing, or tasting, or feeling, or touching. Whether it's hearing an idea, a concept, thought through and presented in a brilliant and breathtaking way, or it's a scene of some incredible landscape or nature, or it's a moment of connection with another person, with a child, a spouse, a friend, or it's a song, or it's an experience in shul, an experience of singing and community. There always seems to be this sort of intangible hum that I'm hearing, that I'm feeling, that I'm sensing, that is both unique to each experience, to each taste, to each sound, and at the same time pervasive throughout all of the experiences. And I've given examples of positive and beautiful things, but in the pain too, there's something that feels like it contains, that it's holding the space of that pain and that difficulty. And I think this is what we mean when we say the song of L'chai Olamim, to the Eternal One. We list all these different qualities that exist in this world, in this physical world. And we say these qualities each belong to the Eternal One. So one interpretation of this is that while we experience Aderes, Emunah, we experience Deya, Dibor, we experience eloquence of speech, Deya, wisdom, Shir and Sheva, we experience song in this world, in this physical world, the true brilliance, the true eloquence, the true song is the Eternal's. But I think there's another interpretation that aligns with my experience. And that is that we're saying that every experience we have of kavod, of honor, of melucha, of royalty, of eloquence of speech, of wisdom, of beauty, of humility, of faithfulness, every time we experience that in something in this world, what we're really experiencing is a glimmer of God's beauty, of God's song, of God's eloquence, of God's wisdom. And it exists almost on a continuum from God in and of himself into the way that it's manifest in material form. And so in everything we experience, in the food that we taste, in the scenes that we see, in the pain that we endure, there's something that we sense experientially that we can't really name, can't really describe. But it's almost like when you sense it and you start to follow it, it takes you to something further, something deeper. It's almost like one of these cartoon images or magic tricks where you start to pull on the string, and as you're pulling on it, more and more comes, and you keep pulling on it, and it doesn't ever get to the other end of the string. That's what it's like when you follow that trace, when you follow that hum that hovers over and in your experiences. You start to pull and follow after it, only to find that there's more, and it brings you this sense of something that's even beyond that which was already beyond, and then something that's beyond that which was beyond what was beyond, and it keeps taking you further and further until you arrive at this experience of there being something infinite that you found almost the last crumb of, and you started to find where it came from. And in that trace, in that trail that you followed after, you encounter the sense that this hum, that this being that was present in your experiences is actually a being, is something of consciousness that contains all of these experiences, all of the qualities listed in that song, in that poetry of Hadaris ve'emunah l'chai olamim. And that's God. And this is what the Meor Einayim is talking about when he says that we are supposed to, in life, be constantly searching to find the Hey Tata'ah and connect it to the Hey Ila'ah, to find that hum, Hashem's presence in this world, and begin to follow that and connect it to the Hey Ilah, this elevated, this higher Hey, this higher godliness. And how do we do that, says the Meor Einayim? We do that through Deya, through consciousness, through living with awareness, with attunement, with open ears and an open mind and an open heart, to hear in the brilliance of a svara, in learning Gemara, of the brilliance of a thought in Jewish philosophy, in the brilliance of a psychological theory, a philosophical theory, hearing that this is really a manifestation of godliness, hearing that hum in there, experiencing it as something more. When you experience intimacy, love, connection, feeling that there's something more, something intangible in that experience. And when you do that and you follow that trail, you arrive through the Hey Tata at the Hey Ilah. And that happens through Deya, through Das, through consciousness and awareness of living all the material experiences with this search to hear and to feel that which lives in it and beyond it, and then beyond that beyond, and beyond the beyond of the beyond, and continuing to follow that until you arrive at that connection, that link, that continuum, realizing that everything is l'chai olamim.